afternoon. My name's Garrett Coffey. I'm the Ag and Natural Resource Agent for the University of Kentucky in Rockcastle County. I'm going to talk about taking some soil samples today, and later on I'll show you on how to prepare the soil samples for sending to the university for testing. So the first thing that comes in real handy when we're taking soil test is a soil probe. This one's really nice. It's got a foot pedestal on it. It's also got a plunger to knock out the dirt whenever you're taking that. Also, something else that I want to have is I want to have a bucket. So I'm going to take this bucket with me. We're going to take random samples throughout a field. So I've got this bucket. I can use this to place the samples in, and then we can mix that up. So whenever we're taking a sample, we're going to be out in the field like this. So I'm just going to come up. I'm going to kind of knock this grass out of the way so I don't get a lot of plant material in there. Get that out. Put my soil probe there. Drive it down about 3 to 4 inches. So there's what my soil sample looks like. All right, so the width of your hand is about 4 inches, so I'm hitting just about right there. So I'm gonna take that. That's one soil plug. All right. So what we're gonna do is if we're down here in this field, like this one here behind us, then I'm gonna go out through this field, and it's very important to get random samples. So, you know, if we're doing this, we don't want to go down there in the middle of that field and pull one plug out. Or we don't want to go down there in the middle 100 feet of that field and pull 10 plugs out. So we want to get a few from the upper end, a few through the middle, some on the lower end, and just make sure to randomize it really good. All right, so I'm just going to put that in my bucket, knock that out of there like that. So I've got this in here, and so I'm going to take that back to the house whenever I get this with the random amount of samples that I want in there throughout the field. I'm going to take this back to the house, and we'll lay it out and dry it and do all that kind of stuff. So one thing I do want to talk about, and I'm going to talk about a little bit more later, is if you look at these two fields behind us, we've actually got a hay field on the left, and we've got a pasture field on the right. So we want to differentiate in those. So make sure that you know, if you've got pasture fields, or you've got hay fields, or if you look on over to the left, there's a draw with trees in it. That's a really good place to differentiate fields. So that's important. So we would go to the field on the far left, take 10 to 20 random samples out of it, mix it up, put it in a bag. We're going to come back over here to this middle field. We're going to do the same in it, 10 to 20 random samples, mix it, label it, and then we'll come on over here to the pasture fields and so on and so forth. All right, so here you can see behind me I'm standing in a yard. So the main thing that we want to do when we're taking a yard sample is just like in a field. We just want to go randomly through the yard, take random samples, mix them all together, and put them in a bucket and prepare that sample and label it as your yard. So here we are at a garden spot, and the main difference that I want to talk about on the yard and the garden. So if you look at this garden behind me, you want to randomize it so it's a lot smaller area. I mean, we're talking a 100 by 100 square here, but you still want to do those same random samples. You still want to pull 10 samples out of this garden and mix those together. Don't just go out, take one small sample and mix it up. Don't use a shovel and get a big clod of dirt. Don't bring it in with a lot of plant material and grass on top, but just go in this garden, pull a few plugs, mix it all together, and do that for this garden as well.
So here we have a bucket with the soil samples in it. Once that's done, we'll want to grind those up, get those worked up a little bit so that we can dump them out on a piece of cardboard for drying. Notice that these are worked up, no plant material and all that. Let those dry for about 3 or 4 days naturally. Bag them, bring them to the office. We will fill this form out with your information. The next slide is going to show that this is what you will get back in the mail. Thanks for watching.